Hello again. What is up? We're back with another video, and today is again one of those videos where it's not specifically about one thing, and so there's gonna be more cuts in it than the last video, solely because I like to have the cuts between the actual subjects that we're gonna be talking about in the video. However, we're not going to have a cut between here and the first subject I'm going to be talking about, which I think will be somewhat interesting. And that is what I really have to say for the intro part of stuff here. I guess we'll just move right along into it. So, there's this guy, I'm not exactly confident how to pronounce his name, Alex Narasti, I think, and he works for a libertarian institute, the Cato Institute. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he has said some funny things over some years, and back in 2023, he made a post that is really funny. He says, "Good policies matter most," but as you can tell, the person who reposted what he said here did not highlight that, so clearly it must not have been that important. Let's continue. "A diverse population reduces social solidarity, which is good for economic growth because people don't want wealth-destroying policies to help out people who look different." Now, this sounds like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo, and when I first read it, that's how it kind of sounded to me, but I'll explain it. So, when you have a diverse population, like let's say it's multiple races, that's a basic way of putting it, but it works for this example. What it does is it reduces like solidarity, and it can have negative effects on like the trust level in a society. There is a rough pattern between the trust level in a society and how diverse it is. There are countries like, say, Norway and Sweden who are very, not diverse, and they have high trust levels. But then you have a place like South Africa or Brazil, which don't have that. And so what he's saying here is that when you have a diverse population, it basically reduces trust in the government and, like not fraternity, but a sense of camaraderie with your people. And, I mean, that makes sense in some way, at least, because, your people probably weren't of varying races, I guess. Like, as an example, if I were a German and then like a ton of people from Mongolia moved in, like these people aren't, of German origin. What are they doing here? And so it kind of reduces social solidarity, like camaraderie and feelings of like community in the people in Germany. And that's just an example. And now this is good for economic growth because people don't want wealth-destroying policies to help out people who look different. Now, what he's saying here is that there are policies, that would benefit people like in marginalized groups like black people. They tend to have lower incomes and whatever. If you have a society that has very low social solidarity, there's no sense of community in the country between races, and instead it's like the races are fighting with each other, then people are not going to vote for policies that are going to benefit someone of, say, another race. And these policies are seen by him as wealth destroying because a lot of them tend to be not perfectly capitalist, or in some sense, I guess, socialist, but not really socialist because it doesn't actually do what socialism does. So it's like motivated by ideas of like helping someone else, but capitalism, according to a lot of people, isn't about that, and by doing this, you're closer to socialism than capitalism. Now, what do I think of this? Well, what he's saying is that it's good to have a multicultural society, like a place that is very diverse in, the different cultures and races, because then, as a result of that, people will not want to vote for policies that would end up benefiting others. Let's say like college student debt relief, okay? Let's say the majority of people in student debt were Asian. Nothing against Asians. Asians are really great people. But if all of them were in student debt and we hated Asians, what's the chance that we're going to vote for that policy to forgive the student debt or just get rid of it for all these Asians? Probably very low. And so that's how he's applying it. And so what this essentially means is that libertarians, they don't really see America as more of a nation than economic zone, like, to make money. And so if they're trying to make the most money possible, they're going to try and make it as diverse as possible, because the more diverse the population is, the better it is for economic growth, because, these bad policies otherwise would be able to occur. Like, let's say all those people in student debt were white people, all the white people would probably, or have a higher chance of voting yes, because, they're white. And in this world, there's a ethnic hatred between different races and different groups. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to think here. And personally, myself, you don't really want to see something like this, because it shows that some people really don't care too much about, like, America, as in the people who are there right now. But yeah, I would go further, but there's things that I'd rather not say here. So yeah, let's just move on to the next part here. Okay, so the next topic we're going to be looking at is this guy called Kevin Castley. He's basically a communist who doesn't really actually say he's a communist, but he defends communist points and whatnot. And one of these things that he said is really hilarious. He says in this post here, he has other dumb posts, but I'm using this one because we'd be here for a lot longer and I don't want to spend half an hour talking about this. He says, riddle me this, Reddit. If communism is so bad, then why does Shenzhen, China, have more skyscrapers than New York? I think the problems in this should already be pretty obvious, because, well, one, skyscrapers don't measure how well off the people in your country are. If that was the case, then you would see places desperately trying to build skyscrapers, because it's like a magic wand that just solves all of their issues with, if their nation's in poverty or whatever. And so that's just one of the things. Like, yeah, you can have a ton of skyscrapers, but like, how does that actually reflect how well your ideology is? Like, yeah, China has all these videos of like LED lighting in their buildings, but if you use just this to say, wow guys, look, communism is so good, you're an idiot, and everyone should recognize that. Now, we can obviously look at more data to see, well, is there stuff that China does do that could show that it can do what capitalism does? Well, I mean, of course, we can always do that, but the people here are not arguing for that. What they're arguing is, hey guys, look at these skyscrapers. doesn't this mean that China is literally doing better than America because communism and they planned out the skyscrapers? The government told them to build skyscrapers and now they're just doing amazing. That's not how it works. I mean, yeah, like the government tells them to the government tells them to build skyscrapers, and the government deals with deciding how different parts of land are used, like how densely is the land used. That is, something that changes by how, the Chinese government does this stuff. But that's not really an indicator of how well your people are doing. But yeah, that's really the first part of what I was going to say on this subject. The second part was that it's actually typically easier for large communist countries to build these giant megastructures than, say, a capitalist country. And the reason why is actually not that surprising. They're really good at building things that are politically viable, because a lot of these places tend to be, not the most democratic places. And so, like, if it sounds good, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. If it's big, then, like, it shows some sort of symbolism, usually, or represents something. An argument can be made for that, and so it's more popular in that way among, the people who actually make the decision of whether or not to have it be built. And not only that, but they tend to usually, like, standardize these things, so that way they are able to churn out a lot of low quality product. They're able to produce things that aren't really of value. They're not for quality, they're for quantity. And I mean, that's what the Soviet Union did for a long time. I mean, there's always the stereotypes about how their army was just so big, and even though it was not of a very good quality, that it was able to very largely contribute to the victory against Nazi Germany in World War II. But they also did the same with, you see all these apartment blocks here in Soviet Russia? I forget what they're called. Oh. Wait, how do you pronounce?
Khrushchevka.
Oh, okay. But they're all over the former Soviet Union, and they just pump these things out because people need to live. Okay, we're gonna build this one thing thousands and thousands and thousands of times over, and it's politically viable because all of that over is big, and it's countable, and it's actually measurable. Specializing or making things, like, say, computers and whatever, making things that are specialized and small like that is not something nearly as, practical, and not practical, but viable, able to succeed in a communist dictatorship as most of these nations have been. So you end up having this situation where they're very good at producing a lot of low value things, or things that are just, emphasized where the quantity of them is meant to be the selling point, but not the quality of them. But on the other hand, they can't produce anything actually good in terms of quality. So, yeah, they have to deal with that issue as a result of the problem of not having really good ways of actually distributing the fruits of labor to people who actually do the work. If you can't see the fruits of your labor, and, most communist countries emphasize everyone being employed because they believe that unemployment is just a evil way by the business owners to punish workers for not, doing whatever they want them to do. And so they want full employment, but if you have full employment, then that means workers don't have any reason not to just, slack off or anything, because I mean, naturally, some of them are going to do that. But, you know, if they do that, then you're almost always going to get lower quality products, and, you know, that naturally gears it so that way most factories in communist dictatorships like, say, the USSR were more aligned towards making things of less quality and just more quantity. Making things of high quality was very risky for a place like them, and that's why they really weren't into that stuff. So, yeah, that's really my point here, and the last one shouldn't really be as long to discuss. Okay, so this last thing, this one's more of a joke, and I hope to keep it like 2 to 3 minutes. Basically, the people, the libertarians, and the extreme ones who want to abolish every country, well, they're seemingly trying to justify this now more than they feel like they need to, probably, with really dumb things, like really dumb things. Let's see, this person here was responding to some anarcho-capitalist account who, most anarcho-capitalists, I hate that I even use that term, most of them don't even like this guy. This person's responding to him, saying that it was never a secret that the U.S. is actually a socialist nation, because it says in the Constitution, quote, "We the people," and then ellipsis, "in order to," ellipsis, wait, is there really an ellipsis between people and in order? You know what, I'm not going to waste my time figuring that out right now in the middle of the video, but let's continue. "We the people in order to," ellipsis, "promote the general welfare." Oh my gosh. Welfare. Oh my god. Scary word alert. Scary alert. Scary word alert. That's big scary word, welfare. We can't have that. We can't have that here. You're banned. You're out. You leave now, America. You're done. You're toast. This is so dumb. This is just so dumb, bro. Like, it says, okay, "we the people, in order to promote the general welfare." Do you know what the word welfare even means? It means, like, okay, it means to ensure the well-being of our people. That's pretty much like a modern translation of what this means. To ensure the well-being of our people. Like, is that controversial to anyone? Like, I mean, if you're actually listening to this right now, do you actually think that ensuring the well-being of your people is really, a bad thing? No? Well, these people do. And so they're seeming to think that they've just found the secret treasure or something hidden underneath everything. Oh my gosh, guys, in the Constitution, it uses the word welfare. Use the word welfare. It says the word "our" in it, guys. Oh my gosh, it's literally communist. It's like the Bugs Bunny memes, except libertarians take them seriously and oppose them. It's really dumb. It's honestly really dumb. I think I've already said that, but I don't think I can stress how dumb this is. Just incredibly dumb, and I'm glad that this took almost 3 minutes on the dot. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to end it. Let's move on to the outro. Okay, we're at the outro. I don't really care to say much. I just kind of want to end this. So, yeah, hopefully you did enjoy the video. I haven't said this in a while. Comment, actually. Please comment if you do reach the end of this video, because I do want to know if people are actually watching these videos. I've seen the analytics, and they aren't great, okay? But you know what? I'm only motivated by what I saw to make more videos. And I will do my best to keep on providing content to you guys in some capacity. But yeah, that's all I'm really gonna say. So, peace.